Welcome back. Now, as the entire globe holds a conversation around condemning Islamophobia, on the eve of Holi, a frenzied mob has attacked an ISKCON temple in Dhaka, Bangladesh. There was a mob of 200 people who was led by Haji Sahifullah. They desecrated the idols, they looted and vandalized the temple last night. This is the second such attack on the ISKCON temple, but it is one of the many such attacks on Hindu temples in Bangladesh. There were 50 temples that were vandalized in our neighboring country in 2021 alone. India questioned the United Nations earlier on not condemning bigotry against the rest of the religions as well. Let's quickly open up this discussion. I'm going to get in Ripon De, who's the International Affairs Secretary of the Bangladesh Jatiya Hindu Mahajot. And Ripon, what an unfortunate, sad news that the world and Indians and Hindus have to hear on the eve of Holi, that there has been a concerted effort to yet again attack a Hindu temple in Dhaka. This is just about 6-7 months from the time there was an attack on several Hindu temples that had taken place in Bangladesh.
Thank you. Happy Holi to all. You know, in Bangladesh, last October 2021, huge vandalized and temple attacks occurred all around the countries, at least 20 district attacks. So unfortunately, last night we got news that Lalmohon Spitwari, Dhaka ISKCON temple, brutally attacked by the local goons and land grabber, Haji Shafiullah and his gangs. And our people hurriedly reached to the spot, and you know, the temple property brutally attacked, vandalized, and one of ISKCON devotee had kidnapped by the goons and attackers, and lastly we able to rescue him from a mosque, and police now take shelter this property. Yeah. And you know, this is not in a sudden attack in Bangladesh. Regularly we are facing such kind of problems in Bangladesh, and it's a matter of irony that in capital city, which is very old temple, and it's maintained by the ISKCON, you know, the international organizations. They are very peacefully run their activities of our religion. So peoples are openly attacked in such a temple. So it's a matter of security, and we hope government will take the proper initiative to protect the temples and save the minorities of Bangladesh.
Yeah, in fact, visuals on your screens, there are these first-hand accounts of these temple priests that have been attacked. There are 3 persons that were injured. There are 4 individuals at this point of time that have been arrested so far by the law and order agencies in Dhaka. Radha Raman, who's an ISKCON spokesperson, also on the broadcast with me. Radha Raman, you know, I wouldn't say this is a shocking instance that has taken place, because these instances have been taking place systematically, repeatedly in Bangladesh and in several other Islamist nations that are bordering India. How is this menace going to be uprooted?
Actually, this is a very important question. We have to find the roots. What is the root of this cause? Why is happening repeatedly? We know that these Islamists, they are not afraid of even punishment. In fact, they consider that if they can kill any kafir, then that is a ticket to, you know, going to heaven and all that. So all this brainwashing which is happening, we have to focus there. Actually, until we stop this brainwashing which is happening in different, you know, wherever their children are studying, if we can't stop that, it is very difficult. Very difficult, because these people, they believe that if they can kill only one kafir, then, you know, they are going to achieve very higher destination, and their next life will be very, very blissful. But this is the root. So we have to reform this, and we know that these people, there is no place. They are taught that there is no place for other beliefs to practice their own religion wherever they are staying. Either they are clearly teaching that if they don't change their religion, if they don't convert, they have to pay taxes, or they have to go away, or we will kill them. So unless we control this thing which is poisoning the small minds, this problem is not going to stop.
Okay. Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee, you've heard it from Ripun there, you've also heard it from Radharaman of the ISKCON temple. The root cause is the kind of propaganda that is being created, the kind of education that is being imparted in several of these Islamist institutions that props these individuals right from a very early childhood to become instigated against other religions, intolerant against other religions. This is not a one-off attack. We spoke about the October 2021 attack that had taken place in Bangladesh. There was news that had been spread like wildfire, that there was the Quran that had been put on the feet of one of the Hindu deities. That led to the massive desecration attacks, killings of a number of Hindu priests and the locals that were actually attending those Durga Pujas in the temples. How should this entire issue be tackled at a global level? And thank God for the fact that this now is being raised and international eyeballs are being drawn to this issue.
Megha, first of all, let me explain that my family is a displaced family from Dhaka, Bikrampur. Okay, so I have deep roots in what used to be then a very beautiful, very secular, very syncretic part of India. Now, what is happening there after post-71 actually is a complete violation of the principles for which Sheikh Mujibur Rahman founded the Awami League, where he deliberately did not put the word Muslim before the word Awami League. He wanted it to be a secular organization which would give the leadership to Bangladesh. I have to unfortunately underline, Megha, that although she is a great ally of India, the Awami League and Sheikh Hasina have not, unfortunately, in the last 2 years that we've been discussing these issues on your channel, given the necessary reassurances to the Hindu community and to step up security before religious festivals. In Bengal, we call it Dol Purnima. Dol Purnima is the full moon before Holi. The word for Holi in Bengali is Dol. And whenever there is, whether it is Durga Puja, whether it is Lokhi Puja, whether it is Dol Purnima, these attacks are stepped up. And don't forget, Megha, that they also slice off the heads of deities. They destroy them like it was some Muslim invader coming in the 10th century to attack the Somnath temple. This is 2022 in Dhaka, a country which calls itself secular, whose Hindus are living in fear. And you're talking about the international community? Well, Megha, if the international community really cared, then why did the UN adopt by consensus the International Day Against Islamophobia without taking into account what India's permanent representative said, which is that the resolution did not have the word pluralism, and that India stands for any kind of religious phobia. That includes phobia against Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Muslims, of course, Christians, any religion. So if the UN has adopted a day against Islamophobia, it gives a completely wrong signal to the terrified minority Hindus in Bangladesh, and it gives further impetus to these Bangladeshi Muslims who think that whoever is left, either kill them or convert them or chase them over the border back to India. So I'm afraid it's a very sorry state of affairs. And much as I respect Sheikh Hasina and her departed father, the father of the Bangladeshi nation, she has to do much more. She is holding back because of political considerations. But if she doesn't act, then Bangladesh will have a smaller minority Hindu population than Pakistan. That will be the most ironical situation for India, which along with Mukti Bahini liberated this country at great cost to India. As we all know, all of us Indians, at what bitter cost we had to pay when Kolkata looked like a huge refugee camp with 10 million Bangladeshis camped all over Sialda railway station, all over Dhaka, all over everywhere. We've liberated and we helped them to go back. This is not what we expect in
return. Absolutely. Madhav Nalapad, then what should be the strong line of action that India needs to take Do we then implement the Citizenship Amendment Act, bring back all our Hindu minorities that at this point of time are living in Bangladesh or Pakistan or Afghanistan? Because we will have to actually accept their fate, that there's nothing that is going to happen in these Islamist nations with Muslims in majority, and thereby it is our responsibility to protect the Hindus of the world and in the neighboring nations.
Well, I'd like to say that I favor a very active diplomacy in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and in other parts of the world to protect minorities. I mean, where there are Hindu minorities, in some places Christian minorities are also attacked along with Hindus. Well, protect them as well. I think it's very, very important that India take the lead. And frankly, Megha, from the beginning of the CAA debate, I have always been pointing out that, look, it's a welcome thing that you're giving a refuge to people who are persecuted and who are escaping genocide. But the most important thing is to stop that genocide, as our ISKCON discussant said, at its roots. And may I tell him that long back when I was very young, I had the privilege of personally, calling on Srila Prabhupada at the ISKCON temple, the beautiful ISKCON temple in Mumbai which they have built. And believe me, as a young boy, all I can say is that, apart from the devotion, the food was fantastic. But, I don't really like to say, these are people who have never harmed anybody in their whole lives. They have never done so. They are only, demonstrating their love for the Almighty. And the Almighty is Lord Krishna for them. It is something else for other people. But it is the same eternal Almighty that we talk about, for example, that is the central message of the Gayatri Mantra. So, it really saddens me. And I quite agree with Ambassador Mukherjee. Sheikh Hasina is proving herself completely incapable of protecting minorities and completely incapable of trying to protect the legacy of her father. Possibly this is because she wants to avoid the fate of her father. You remember he was assassinated by people who are basically intellectual slaves of Pakistan. And in Bangladesh at that time, there were such intellectual servants. Today, even now, there are intellectual servants of the Pakistan military. And these are the people who are doing this kind of awful thing. I do hope that the OIC is going to recognize this, both the Kashmiri Pandit situation as well as this horror that is taking place most just now in Bangladesh, and give a strong resolution against it. Because I can assure you, the best thing that the OIC can do for Islam is to stand up against oppression worldwide.
I completely agree with you, Madhav Nalapat over there, but will that question arise at the very next meeting of the OIC is a big question mark. That is perhaps everybody's guess about what could be the discussion at that meeting in Islamabad. But Riponde, you've heard it from Madhav Nalapat, you've heard it from Ambassador Mukherjee as well. And we talk about Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League, which is in the current dispensation in the country. How has the transformation been over the years, the way there is appeasement that is taking place towards the majority community versus the protection that is required to the minorities, particularly Hindus, whose percentage has drastically reduced over the several years and decades?
Listen, here the expectation of the government, basically from Sheikh Hasina, the Hindus of Bangladesh feel that the Sheikh Hasina and Awami League is their friend. But unfortunately, we've seen since 2012, the Hindus of Bangladesh are reducing day to day, and they feel they are unsafe in this place. But you people are talking about the CAA, but Bangladeshi Hindus feel that this is our motherland, which is Mrs. Mukherjee told. His family disappeared from Bikrampur, and this temple located in the Wari, Lalmohan Street, it is Hindu belonging area in the old Dhaka. And in this place, while some people, 200 people, create a mob and attack to the temples, we seen, and we told this that's a terrorist attack if it occurred generally. But while people say Allahu Akbar, Narayan Takbir, and attack to the temple, it must, we say, that is the Islamic attack. So this is what is ongoing in Bangladesh, and we hope, and our people thought, the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina may be surrounded by her people who are not informing her as properly that Bangladeshi minorities are being persecuted and they need protection. Otherwise, you know, in some days later in Bangladesh, the election is coming, people must raise their voice by vote. So we also need the international organizations concerned regarding these issues, and what you told previously that United Nations declared 15 March as a Islamophobia protection day. But while people are attacking to the temple in the name of Islam, why the Islamic group, OIC and United Nations not airing the people, you supposed to not such kind of attack by the name of Islam?
Yeah, that's
So
the
they are
question
not
I asked.
doing this.
That's the question I asked in Radha Raman. That, you know, is this the
And I-
reason?
I-
Because
One second.
Yeah.
One second. I also want to contend from here. While some couple of months ago in America, they are making a seminar, you know, dismantling Hindutva. Hindutva is a very peaceful mission all over the world, and people accepted it. And ISKCON is the ambassador of peace all over the world. And those people are, most of they are taking sannyas, and they never harm anybody, even any insect of the world. They are
I totally
very
agree with you, Ripon. And in fact, even as
targeting
we
marriage.
speak, these left liberals who call themselves erudite, more educated, more aware in the West are actually propagating, building about conferences, holding seminars in some of the topmost universities of the world, in the United States particularly, and holding these holy against Hindutva, you know, dismantling global Hindutva. And I don't understand the cause of actually doing this. And Radha Raman, I'd seek your comment as well on this. Why is it that there seems to be suddenly, all in unison, a cabal that has grown against Hinduism? It looks as if because we are so few in number, unlike the Christian community or the Islam community, are we not able to put our voice across through the right channels, to the right organizations and people, and thereby the atrocities that we continue to face, the ethnic cleansing that we continue to face, is nobody's concern really?
Hindus are world minorities. Actually, we are minorities. Worldwide, Hindus population is very less. And we know that in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, one time in Pakistan, the population was more than 35%, 30%. In Bangladesh, it was like that. In Bangladesh, it's only 9% now, and in Pakistan, less than 1.5 or 2%. So such kind of genocide is happening. Ethnic cleansing is happening. Actually, they are killing one Hindu, like every day they are killing. It's not that in one go they are killing. Every day they are killing Hindus. But United Nations never found, you know, the voices of, never heard the voices of Hindu minorities of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. United Nations has never raised the issue. We know about Noakhali, you know, riots. We know about 1971 massacre in Bangladesh, where lakhs of people were killed, and lakhs and lakhs of women were raped, and so many people were displaced. But United Nations never issued a condemnation about those riots. And the United Nations has all the time to declare, you know, 15 March as a day to combat Islamophobia. What a joke! What a joke it is. Here people are losing their lives, livelihood, their families are destroyed, they're losing their lives. But United Nations never finds, you know, never hears their voices. So United Nations, UN has to unmute itself and hear the voices of Hindus. Hindus of Bangladesh, Hindus of Kashmir, and you know, wherever Hindus are in minorities. Even in India, where Hindus are in minorities, they are in terrible condition.
Okay, all right. Ambassador Mukherjee, why is it that a consensus and awareness not be built against this systematic Hindu genocide across the globe the way it had been built for the Jewish community, extremely tiny in number. There was a genocide that had taken place back in the 1940s during the World War II. There has been so much awareness that has been created by way of mass media, by way of political conferences, by way of United Nations at every single point supporting the Jewish community, that the entire globe knows about the Holocaust.
Well, Megha, it was a long struggle also for the Jews. It was not easy for them. But as far as genocide is concerned, let me first begin with the great famines that devastated Bengal, for instance, in British times. 10 million died in the Great Bengal famine. Did the British ever apologize? Never. In 71, India under Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the first country to bring to the United Nations the horrific sight of genocide, where it has been rightly said that women were raped, people were displaced, and actually it was a slaughter, widespread slaughter of Hindus and Muslims. It was all people who spoke the Bengali language, because at that time in 71, it was religion versus culture. So there was unity in Bangladesh that the language we speak, Bengali, is what binds us together more than Islam. And that itself is a contradiction of how India was partitioned, because if to the Bengali Muslim, Bengali is more important as his culture than his religion, Islam, then 71 itself was a rolling back in a way of the raison d'etre of partition of the Muslim League and Jinnah. But I'll come now to the whole issue of genocide of Hindus. Genocide of Hindus, killing of Hindus, should be taken up systematically by the country, by the non-governmental organizations who talk about other genocides, and by Government of India. India should take it up systematically. And India has, under Prime Minister Modi, been much more active in flagging such issues to the attention of the UN. It is only when India has large support, and now it has much more. Don't forget, India took a long time to convince, particularly the West, that genocide was actually happening as we spoke in 71 across Bangladesh. Long after Noakhali. Noakhali was different. Noakhali was religious riots. In this particular case, it was the determination of the Pakistani army to exterminate the Bengali-speaking people, Hindu or Muslim, of Pakistan. So it was proper genocide as defined under the international law. Here, in this particular case now, this is not genocide. This is an effort to exterminate the Hindu population of Bangladesh, either by converting or by killing or by encouraging them to move, even though, as Ripon said rightly, that his land is that sacred land, as my father used to tell me, of the Padma river, where the hilsa is brought out, where it's a fertile land where everything grows. My father was never able to go back to the land he was displaced from. We are displaced people. I don't want Ripon to be displaced. I would like him to stay in security where he comes from. But ultimately, survival is the most important part of a human being's existence. If his life is in danger, then he should leave. But that would be a sorry state of affairs for India, for the international community, and for the UN, that the Hindus of Bangladesh, having gone through so much, including 71, and having gone back to Bangladesh from India after 71, are now in a situation where either
they're again being forced to be thrown out or are facing the kind of atrocities. Totally agree with you. Coming back to you, Madhav Nalapat, you heard it from Ambassador, you heard it from Radha Raman, you heard it from Ripon as well. What is it going to take? How many deaths, how many rapes, how many desecrations to allow for a drastic and permanent change to take place in favor of the Hindu communities?
Megha, I'm very glad that NewsX has taken it up and you have taken it up so strongly. I'm very glad. May I point out that Prime Minister Modi is the first Indian Prime Minister to take up the issue of the genocides that are taking place of religious minorities in different parts of South Asia, for example. The CAA was actually brought as a response to that, and there may be difference of opinion about whether its structure was perfect or not. I happen to believe that India should be muscular in preventing this kind of genocide, and much more muscular. But the fact is, it is only because of that. It's only because of Modi that now attention is finally being paid. Otherwise, this is not genocide. It's not defined as genocide. If 10 people from a particular religion are killed, that is genocide. If a lack of people from a particular religion are killed, oh, that's not genocide at all. Certainly not. And you should not be, condemning those people for doing so. Look, that is the first point, that no government took it up, as Ambassador Mukherjee will tell you. This government has taken it up, and that needs to be taken up very much more. The second thing is our very sorry example after the Mukti Bahini and our military liberated the Bangladeshi people from their oppressors. Not a single Pakistani was held accountable for the rapes, mutilation, murder, enslavement of so many millions of Bengalis, Hindu and Muslim. There's so many millions. Not even a sepoy. Forget about a general. Forget about a havildar. Not even a sepoy. Forget about a colonel. And this is a shameful blot on frankly, at least on my conscience, I believe we should have had at least 1,000 people to be accountable for that genocide, identify the worst perpetrators, people who are eyewitness evidence of rapes and murder, and bring them to trial in Bangladesh. The fact that they were not brought to trial means we have deprived the Bangladeshis of a complete opportunity of learning their history, and I hope this kind of leniency to barbaric savages will not be shown again. The fact is, the world needs to understand what barbarism is. India succeeded in liberating Bangladesh, but failed completely in holding even a small proportion of those responsible for this genocide.
Well, I think that's the situation when we talk about the Kashmiri Pandit exodus that took place. We're talking about the 1971 war that had taken place that led to the death of a number of Bengali Hindus and Muslims. There has been no accountability that has been held. The perpetrators have not been finished. And we talk about the systematic ethnic cleansing of the Hindu minorities. Who are these perpetrators? Why are they not being given the punishment? Why are they not being held accountable? Obviously, there are a number of reasons and there are politics involved. But will India be able to cut through this politics and allow for justice to be provided to those innocents who have lost their lives, they've lost their properties, they have been at this point of time dislabeled from doing the things that they want to do, express their religion, express their core beliefs in a Bangladesh or a Pakistan or an Afghanistan. I thank my panelists for joining me on the special broadcast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.